the Traxxas E-Revo 2.0 project. We took a used Traxxas E-Revo and brought it back. That's all the parts we got rid of. Now let's go see the finished product. Welcome to Ready Set RC, and today we have the Traxxas E-Revo 2.0. This is not our first Traxxas E-Revo 2.0, so this is not the E-Revo that we previously had on the channel and did a comparison between this and the Armor Creighton. This is a completely different Traxxas E-Revo. I sold that first one off. For you guys who are new to the channel, I actually traded that back to my local hobby shop and was able to get a TRX 6 in its place. But I always had I guess, some kind of feeling for the E-Revo, so I ended up getting another one. And this one we're going to do it completely different than we did on the first one. And that's what I wanted to do with this one. So you guys are seeing it here now. It did not come to me like this. I did a lot, as you guys saw in the intro, I did a lot of parts changing out, modifications to this one to get it to where it is, and we're going to talk that through on today's video. So here we are, the Traxxas E-Revo 2.0. You guys are familiar with this truck. It's been out for quite some time at this point. I believe when we first got it was somewhere around 2018, 2017, I'm trying to remember the videos, but it was somewhere around there when we bought it. This one, I recently got this one somewhere of April of 2021. I traded this for the Red Cat Chimera. Those that are not familiar with the Chimera is a 1/6 scale desert buggy. It came in electric and a gas version. Mine was the electric version. A lot of people who commented on videos for the Chimera actually thought I converted it. Never did, bought it just like that from Red Cat. I liked it, but I never really used it because I have other vehicles that I felt that were same or if not better than the Chimera. So felt I'd trade it and got an opportunity to get myself an E-Revo again. So let's go over what we've done to this E-Revo, and so that you guys know. This will probably be a good point for those of you that are looking to buy used vehicles, some of the things that you want to look out for when you're buying them and some of the things that you want to do once you buy them and you're going through it. So the E-Revo is a platform that I was completely familiar with. I started off with a Summit, then I got the 2.0, and then now I have this. So I've had my experiences with this platform and this type of truck all throughout my RC experience. So I had no issues in going ahead and buying a used one because I knew what to expect. So once I got this, I went through all the diffs in the truck, made sure that they were properly greased, made sure that the gears weren't chewed out, and all the diffs looked good. I then tore the truck completely down. And if you're not comfortable with doing that to a used RC, then maybe a used RC is not for you. But I've been in the hobby for quite some time, and I have no problems in doing that no matter what the truck is, no matter what the skill level of the truck is going to require to do that. So tore completely down. Saw what needed to be replaced. A lot of the parts that I got, a lot of the OEM parts, the parts that are stock to this truck, I just bought them from Jenny's RC. Jenny's RC, for you, the guys who are not familiar with it, and I'll put the link into Jenny's RC in the description below. They part out the vehicle and sell you the parts off the truck. And that's what I did. So for this truck, I got the body from Jenny's. I went ahead and I purchased the bumper that you're seeing here today from RPM. So this is an RPM front bumper that you're seeing on the truck. The wheels and the tires that you're seeing are in here. They're SRC wheels and tires. These are on-road. This is what I'm trying to do to this truck, is make it an on-road vehicle. and with a little bit of off-road bashing, but these come glue mounted already. These are belted monster truck tires, guys, so that you understand what these are. In regards to the hubs, what I noticed on this truck is that the hubs, on the old hubs that were on here, the bearings were pretty much shot. The hubs were chewed up. So what I did on that was just went to Jenny's, replaced all the hubs that are on here. And Jenny's RC, the hubs come with the bearings in there. They come with the pivot balls already in there. So you got a lot of things to already start. And if you tried to buy these parts by themselves, you probably end up paying more. But if you buy it in this fashion with the boots and everything that comes on it from when Jenny's RC sells it to you, you probably end up ahead. And that's what I did. I ended up getting the hubs for the front and rear on this truck, purchased it from Jenny's RC, replaced what was already on here, because since that was chewed up and gears were, and the bearings were binding and everything, didn't make any sense reusing that stuff. Also, what I noticed was some of the suspension arms, especially in the rear, those were also compromised. They were a little bit twisted and chewed up as well. And I just replaced the rear arms. The front arms are the stock arms. They look pretty good, upper and lower. But the links on this truck throughout needed to be replaced. Either the rod ends were compromised, or what I noticed that the links themselves were bent. I replaced all the links on this truck, and that was another part that I purchased from Jenny's RC. In regards to the rear links, I went with the 775 links in the rear, the ones that I had problems with. I know everyone changes out the lower ones too, but I never had a problem with the lower ones on my previous 2.0. I replaced the ones that were giving issues to me. Now, if I see that those tend to be a problem, then I'll replace those as well. But for right now, my issue's always been in the rear and always those upper links that are there. Now, as for the rockers and everything else on this truck, I kept them the way they are. The rockers were no issues on this truck whatsoever. One of the things I did on my original 2.0 is I put the sway bars in the front and the rear. And I noticed that really helped the truck out a lot. And once again, I had the spare parts from my 2.0. So I went ahead and I put that into this truck. What I also did was put some shock covers on there just to kind of keep all the dirt and muck off of the springs and the adjustments of it. It just makes it nice and neat. But the shocks in the front, they were perfect. The oil was perfect in them. I kept them the way they are. Everything looked good. But then another thing that I noticed throughout this entire truck is that there were random screws all over the place. I purchased up a stainless screw set, and I went ahead and replaced all the screws on here. Now, I didn't necessarily want to put stainless screws on this truck, but I wanted to standardize the screws for this because the screws were all over the place. It was screws, different screws used for everything, for the servos, for the arms, for everything that you see in here. The screws were not matching, and I wanted to make sure that it was standard screws throughout this truck. So that was another thing that I purchased up and used it as well. The servos on here, they're not the original servos, but I noticed that they are the slightly upgraded Metal Gear versions of them. They're not the blue casing ones, they're the gray casing ones. So I went ahead and I kept them for now. If I see that there's an issue, then I'll replace them. I'm going to check the endpoints on them. I'm going to adjust that so that that's not an issue. But I noticed that the servos that are on this truck, they've been upgraded, and I'm going to leave that as well. As for the pinion and spur, the pinion on this was completely chewed out. There was no teeth left known to man on there. As for the spur was in good condition, but the spur is an aftermarket spur that's on this truck. It's a 52-tooth hot racing spur that's on here, and I kept it the way it is. Now for the pinion, I believe I'm running a 17-tooth pinion. I can't remember because I did this some time ago, but I believe it's a 17-tooth pinion that I'm running in here, and I have that mated up. I'm going to see how that goes, checking temps and everything else. As for the receiver that's running in this truck and the transmitter, I'm sticking with the TQI controller. I like it. I have no issues with it. Plus it has the Bluetooth module, and I'll be utilizing that with this truck as well. As for the ESC, we're going to keep it with the VXL 6S ESC for now. And I have that paired up to a Team Corrales 2050 kV motor that comes with the 6S lineup on the Team Corrales. And I'm using a Power Hobby. I have a Power Hobby fan and heatsink on this to really keep it nice and cool. The motor mounting system is all stock. I did not change anything out in that. That's everything that comes with it. But what I did is clean up all of the wiring that was in here, made it nice and neat. On the rear, there was already the metal chassis brace that's on here, but I had my own, and mine looked like it was in a little bit better shape than the one that was on here, so I replaced it with my metal chassis brace. What I did keep on the rear, at least, is the straps the limit straps for the suspension. Those came on this truck previously, and I kept it on here because I think that's a great idea. Now, I did put the sway bars on the rear as well, but I'm just going to limit the travel as much as possible in the rear because that's where I really had the issues. The front, I didn't really have any issues in the front on my 2.0, but on this one, I'm going to change it up and increase even more limitations on the rear. I'm running shock covers again in the rear, but the shocks in the rear were blown, completely blown. They were blown out, the rod ends were compromised. So that's another part that I went ahead, purchased up from Jenny's RC. From Jenny's, you get the oil already in there, you get everything in there that you want, brand new shocks. So I went ahead and I put those on the rear of this truck. The sway bar system, similar to the front, I had that already. They come together, the front and rear. I had that already from my original 2.0, so that's where I got the sway bar system in this. As for the upper and lower support arms on this truck, as I said earlier, those were compromised, completely compromised. They were chewed up, they were bent. Some of the holes that you would mount your links into were stretched and stressed, so I just went ahead, ordered those up also from Jenny's RC, and put that on this truck. Now, all the parts, and I don't know if I said that previously, all the parts that you get from Jenny's RC, they're brand new. They're not off of a used RC or anything like that. They're brand new parts. So then coming out to the rear, the wing on this truck too was a little chewed up, damaged. I replaced the wing with a carbon fiber-like wing that comes from Traxxas. That's what I have on here. It's really plastic, but it has this carbon fiber look. I thought it would look great on this truck. And I also put the wheelie bar, the original wheelie bar that I had on my 2.0. Now, Traxxas E-Revo 2.0 does not come with a wheelie bar. It is an optional part. So when it comes underneath, you guys can see what I've done here. Once again, standardize all the screws that you're seeing underneath the truck. But one thing I did add was metal skid plates in the front and also in the rear. We'll see how that goes. I know metal is definitely not as flexible as the plastic, but as I stated before, I don't plan on running it the way I did my original 2.0. So put a little bit of bling and you guys can see how it is right now. I kept the center with the plastic. I didn't really see a need for it. So, you know, as I said, I'm only putting strengthening parts where I think it's needed. And I didn't feel it's needed here. I think it was fine. As for the center drive shaft, it is the stock steel drive shaft that's in there. It is not the optional center drive shaft that you can purchase from Traxxas, so nothing's changed there. So I'm going to try to list all the parts that we replaced on this truck in the description below. It's quite a few, so I may miss some of the stuff that I replaced on this, but it's quite a few parts, guys. I think it came out amazing. I can't wait to get this thing out. But please like, comment, and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram for the latest posts to the channel. This is Ready Set RC, signing out. Thanks again, guys.